lot of people drink an alternative of regular soft drinks. They drink Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. How are those different from regular drinks?
So the Diet Cokes and Diet Pepsi, they use different kinds. They use the synthetic sugar, so it's not actually cane juice. If you look on the back of the can, normally a regular soda bottle will say evaporated cane juice and or high fructose syrup, and those are basically the high calorie sugars. And right now, what's being marketed is these synthetic sugars that basically have no calories but have the taste. And I think, if you're drinking these diet sodas, you can obviously taste there's a difference.
So you just mentioned, looking at a product and, checking what is actually in it. So could you discuss how someone can read a nutrition label, what they should look for when they're buying produce?
Sure. So, how I sort of introduce nutrition labels to my students is one of the first things you want to look at is the total calorie count. And that is usually at the very top line. And that calorie count is sort of a unit of energy. Calories are basically energy that your body uses. And so if you're eating about maybe 4, 5, 6 meals a day that are very small, maybe you want to consider limiting your total calories per meal to about 400 calories, maybe between 300 and 500. And that's usually a good amount that your body can process within sort of the 3 hours that you're not going to have food after. And then the next thing I would recommend you look at is the fat. So that's right underneath the total calories. And this fat basically tells you, obviously, how much fat is in the food. And what you want to look at is the number of trans fat and the number of saturated fat and the number of unsaturated fat. So the trans fat and saturated fat are very thick. They're the ones that when you ingest them, they'll actually clog up your arteries. You can think of lard, that's a saturated fat, so it's very, very thick. It's sort of at room temperature, it sort of clumps together in a little clump. And the unsaturated fats are things like olive oil, and you can get them in nuts, you can get them in fish, your omega-3s are unsaturated fats, and these are actually good for your body. So contrary, to popular belief, you actually do need to eat some fats because a lot of your vitamins, like vitamin A from your vegetables, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, these are called what we call the fat-soluble vitamins, and you actually need to eat fat to help your body ingest these and absorb these vitamins. And so the next line, so you want to minimize the saturated fat, and a little bit of unsaturated fat is okay. I would say probably in a normal day, you would have about maybe 3 tablespoons of olive oil. That's probably a good estimate of how much saturated fat you can have. And the next line I would recommend is the carbohydrates. So a lot of people, you hear about these low carbohydrate diets. And what carbohydrates are actually just your main source of energy. That's where a lot of the calorie count also comes from. And carbohydrates are very good for you. They are the immediate source of energy for your body. So if you're actually not taking enough carbohydrates a day, you won't even have energy to work out, to go run, to burn your fat, or even to just sort of get through your day sitting in class. And so that is actually an okay number to look at. What you really should be trying to minimizing is the sugar. So oftentimes you'll see sugar around maybe 30 grams for a soda, maybe 20 something for cereal. And the best ones are probably around like 5 to 10 grams of sugar on that label is a good sort of level or for the sugar. Because if you have too much sugar, sugar doesn't immediately become energy. Sugar actually gets stored in your body first and then becomes energy later. So there's sort of this 2-step process, and that can very easily become fat.
Yeah, so there's so many fad diets out there. Recently, just going online, I saw one that said that you could cut back carbs for, 2 days out of the week, and that a lot of people have had success in, losing weight. So is that still okay since it's only 2 days, out of the week, and you can do this maybe a couple of times a month? Or is it best to, maintain a healthy amount of carbohydrates every day?
So I would say it really depends on your level of activity and what sort of, you're trying to accomplish during the day. So for example, if you're cutting out carbs the whole day, the idea behind that is when you cut out carbs, you have no immediate source of energy for that day. Then the idea is your body will then have to take your stored fat, which is your stored energy, and convert that into energy for you to use through the day. So in that case, if you're starving yourself the entire day and you don't eat anything, like I said earlier, your body will actually think you're starving. Even if you're not giving yourself the carbohydrates you need, your body will not let go of that fat because it will think that it needs it for later. So perhaps you can try maybe eating more meals, less carbs that day, and see what happens. I would say if you're feeling too tired to walk around, feeling too tired to work out, you do actually need a little bit of carbohydrate in the day.
So you mentioned a lot about what someone should be eating when they're trying to diet, but how exactly can someone start a diet? Because I know it's really hard for them to immediately change their eating habits.
That's actually a really good question. So, a lot of sports psychologists have done research about how long does it take to change a habit? And actually, it takes your brain about 6 weeks to change the way it thinks, change what it wants. So when we're talking about, looking at these different food groups, trying to get all these food nutrients into your body every day, each sort of food group is a sort of different kind of habit that you have to keep track of. And not only are you eating differently, you have to start buying your food differently. You have to start thinking about food differently. When you go out with your friends, what can you eat? All of these are different habits. Each one of these takes about 6 weeks to sort of get started, get situated into your body and into your mind. So what I would recommend is oftentimes, you want to pick one. So a lot of times I would say, maybe in the first week, don't even try to change your diet. Just go through the week, get a food log, and write down everything that you eat. What are you eating that day? When are you eating? How much are you eating? And then, really take a look. What exactly are you eating? What sort of nutrients are you missing? And then pick one of your one of the favorite ones. Which one are you interested in changing? Do you want to drink more water? Do you want to eat more fruits and vegetables? So for example, if you choose fruits and vegetables, then the following week, the second week of changing your diet, you can say, I can eat whatever I want as long as I get 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in the day. And that will be the only thing that you focus on. And once you've gotten that situated and you feel comfortable buying the fruits and vegetables, eating it, choosing the right option, you can move on and add on to another week. You can have 2 habits now that you're changing.
So we live, in a society where people want fast results. So what is a healthy amount of weight to lose in a week? Because people start diets and they basically expect, to drop 10 pounds after the first day. So what should people, really be expecting?
So I think, we've definitely heard stories about people who've lost up to 10 pounds in a week. A lot of times these 10 pounds are sort of your water weight. And when you're not eating or when you're all of a sudden exercising more but eating less, a lot of this water weight goes out. And sometimes this is because, you eat a lot of salt. When you actually eat things with high sodium, your body retains a lot of water. So if you all of a sudden cut out a lot of salts or you're moving around so much, you're losing all of that water weight. But then, because you're so hungry from that first week, you actually bounce back in the second week. And so I would recommend maybe about 2 to 3 pounds a month is a good estimate. Again, it really depends on, what is your daily activity, and how much are you exercising? Because when you're exercising, you're also gaining muscle, and muscle does weigh more than fat. So, you really want to consult a dietitian on this, consult your personal trainers, and ask them, what is a good target weight loss per week, per month.
Now I understand that a lot of people want to completely change their lifestyle. They want to start dieting, they want to start exercising. So what is a good way to incorporate